The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn Weird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy.
We are the show that talks about computers.
Technology.
And the internet. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Good to see you all.
Good. School's back.
School. Yay.
Sports.
No, is that
so? Is this the only time of the year that you actually work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, is this your
No.
favorite part about school though? Is really with sports being back?
Yeah. Next, our first home game. Well, our first football game is Sunday night, but it's not home. So our first home game is September 11th. So
All right.
we're really ramping up for football. So
We took last week off. We ran a best of show because we were all doing stuff. Justin, you had to go to Dallas.
I was on a work trip for the first time in, gosh, I don't even remember.
How was
Long
it?
time.
How is it? Seriously, how is it flying during a pandemic? I mean, I know you went to Hawaii, but and now you're back. But what is it like flying within the United States, the continental United States?
Well, I can't say that on radio.
That bad, huh?
I'll just say it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun. The multiple reasons, really. I mean, one, it's not fun to have to sit there and wear a mask the entire flight. I noticed people around me, what they would do, and it's kind of genius, to be honest. The masks have to be on unless you're eating or drinking. Mm-hmm. So once they come around with those pretzels and your free, drink, and I'll get to that in a moment with the free drink problem, people would just sit there and nurse it. And every like minute or so, they would just reach down and grab one tiny little pretzel, nibble on it, take a tiny sip of their water. So basically, they were maskless the entire flight.
Right, because they're just nursing their snack.
Yeah, and then people come back, hey, you need to put your mask on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm eating.
Oh, man.
And so that was the way around it, really. So like everybody around me, pretty much didn't even have their masks on. You enter with a mask and you leave. But the other problem I have too is because of all the unruly passengers, and this is exactly what I've been told by a airline flight attendant whose company shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
It's used to be somewhere based in Arizona. Anyway,
They're not in the Northeast, are they?
no, they're the exact opposite. So anyway, he mentioned that the unruly passengers are the reason behind not allowing alcoholic drinks on flights anymore.
Really?
And so, I like to get on a flight. I'll have a drink or two. Just kind of relax, hang out, That's like the last bastion of luxury when it comes to flying anymore. Some of our listeners may remember what it used to be like to fly back in the 50s and 60s, where it was literally a luxury to fly. Now they pack you in like sardines. They give you a bag of pretzels, and now they give you a choice of Coke, Sprite, coffee, or tea, or water, and you have to hold up 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4 fingers, or 5 fingers. You can't even take your mask off to order your drink.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And so they come by and you just hold up a finger, and that's what they bring you. And you get one tiny little drink, and that's basically it. So
wait, so they're not serving alcohol on the planes anymore?
Absolutely not. Nope.
I had no idea.
And it's still illegal, federally illegal, to bring on your own alcohol onto a plane.
So you can't bring those little bottles.
Yeah, so you can't do that. So like when we were coming back from Maui, I had bought a little shooter of Maui vodka.
Uh-huh.
And I kept it for coming home or being at home or whatever. But in the Vegas airport, again, no, I'm going to get into this too, but we got canceled.
Yeah, that's right.
In Vegas.
Yeah, I remember that.
Our flights got canceled. So the next day when we were getting ready to board our flight, I went and bought a little Sprite, a 20-ounce bottle of Sprite, drank a little bit of it, and then on the plane, I'm like emptying the vodka into this thing, not realizing that it's probably not going to do anything to me because this is 20 ounces of soda with like 3 ounces of vodka.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe I should have drank more of that Sprite before I mixed it in. But anyway, it's federally illegal to do that.
Wow.
So you just can't drink on flights anymore. And I've been told that by the flight attendant that they said they were thinking about September was the comeback for this, but now they're saying with Delta variant and whatever else is going on, now they're saying probably not till 2022. But I fly business class on that particular airline, and I get a free drink coupon. However, I don't use printed out tickets, I get all my stuff digital. So on my digital boarding pass, it says, please keep this for future drink. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but as soon as the flight is done, the pass goes away.
Oh, that's not good. That's
So
not good. I thought you would beat the system.
Yeah, how am I supposed to do that, you know? But yeah, that's another problem. And then the last problem, really, the biggest one, is just that there's cancellations everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we got canceled in Vegas. We luckily got a flight out the next day to come home. Then on my business trip to Dallas, my flight there was fine. The flight back was a Thursday, and I was originally scheduled for a 5:55 p.m. flight. And I said, you know what? I just don't think I'm going to be having enough work to do to stay here till 3 p.m. and then go to the airport. So I said, yeah, I'm going to change it to a 4:20 flight. So there was a 4:20 flight. I was like, I'll change it to that. And then I said, honestly, I'm just going to catch this 1:30 flight because I want to get back home.
Yeah.
So I changed it to 1:30. I get my work done. I go to the airport. I get a notification. Your 5:55 flight has been canceled.
Oh, man.
I'm like, ooh, good thing I changed.
Yeah.
Then it says your 4:20 flight has been canceled.
Yikes.
I'm like, oh no, no. Don't do this. Don't do this. Thankfully, we got on the 1:30 flight, but everybody from all those other flights were now put on my flight, but still, I was A1. So I got the board first.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got the best seat in the house.
Nice.
Have you ever, now I'm just wondering, have you ever flown first class?
I have. Well,
Yeah.
no, define first class. Are you talking international first class or domestic first class?
So when the last day we did Tech Talk Radio in Palm Springs, I had made the decision and was around about, I want to say it was 2004. And I would every week, because, we came out here in Tucson in 2000. And in 2004, I said, okay, I think I can't do this anymore. I was driving back and forth to Palm Springs every weekend, and we would do the show there at that station in the desert. And I finally decided, okay, I'm going to retire it. So we had stopped doing it. Little did I know, 2 weeks later, it got picked up at KTKT, which is now a Spanish station. And that's where you came on board.
Yeah.
But when I had a friend that worked for American Airlines named Donna that worked in reservations, and she was a listener to the show, and she told me, she said, oh, what are you doing this weekend? I said, oh, I'm going to be, flying out or driving out to Palm Springs in a rental and then flying back. She says, well, why don't you let us hook you up? And she did. Wow. She got me first class on American. We took off from Ontario Airport, and I flew all the way back to Tucson first class. And I remember those seats were super comfy. They gave me champagne. I remember flying over, like the commercial where you got Rick, the guy who teaches you not how to be an old person. He said, don't point out landmarks. But I saw the Colorado River. I saw the 10 freeway. And I was like, oh, look at that out there. And sitting in my comfy chair drinking my champagne. But that was funny.
There is a big difference between domestic first and international first.
Oh yeah, have you seen what is it? The plane that flies? It's got like a full bed, Qatar, and it has like a full bed in it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of those now. I mean, the international first class. So that's the funny thing you mentioned that, because now there's like a separate category. So you got first class domestic, which is, it depends on the airline. You got first class and business class and coach. Some airlines just do first and coach. Some airlines, like the one that I mentioned earlier, that's located somewhere opposite of the Northeast, they just do straight up coach.
Yeah.
Unless you get business select, which means you just get the board first, but it's all the same seat.
And then there's that other one, Spirit, where they make you sit on the wing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm just
We're
kidding.
going to have you sit in the toilet for right here. There's a seatbelt right here. If you need to go, just stand up.
Oh
lift
my
the
God.
lid.
Spirit is the absolute bottom of the brine barrel.
Yep.
This is our opinion, right?
This is our opinion. This is
Oh,
anyway,
it's such a terrible experience.
So you've got business class on some airlines, and so like first class is pretty much business class of international. So let's just talk about international. You've got coach, you've got business, which is really nice, and then you've got first class, which is amazing. And then on some airlines, you've got like VIP, where you get your own apartment. A lot of times there's only like 2 of those per flight because there's just not enough room to have apartments. But I've been watching a couple different YouTubers, Sam Chewy, the Points Guy, things like that, where they get these flights and they get to have these apartments and they get to show them off, and they're really cool. But I've flown domestic first, which is technically business,
Right.
and then I've flown international business one time, which was amazing. You know, the seats recline. You're right. You get the champagne right off the bat. You get a cooked meal. You know, that you're paying for it, though. Well, in my case, the government was paying for it. So, yeah, anyway. But, Shawn, have you ever flown first class?
Once.
Where?
I flew from San Diego. San Diego to O'Hare. I upgraded the day of because, for one, the flight was really cheap and I could never figure out why. And then when I got to the airport and it was dead, and the upgrade to first class only cost me another $50, I said, "Why the hell not?"
Oh, wow!
And then I realized it was 2011, September 10th or September 11th, 2011.
Oh, the 10-year
So
anniversary.
it was the 10-year anniversary of September 11th.
That makes sense.
Zero people. It was that's the most dead I've ever seen in an apartment outside of just what you see on TV from COVID.
An airport.
Wow. And it's hard to believe that next week it's going to be the 20th anniversary.
That's crazy.
It's crazy
of that. It's boy, and what a time that was too. And what a time that was.
Yeah, so that's the only time I've ever flown first class. Everything else has been coach, or as Andy said, on the wing of a Spirit airline.
Yeah. But no, like I said, but in general, to answer your question at the very beginning, yes, it's not really fun to fly right now.
No.
I mean, it hasn't been fun for years, but now it just makes it frustrating.
I can't even imagine. So the longest flight I ever had, Justin and Shawn, was flying to New Zealand. Well, actually, it was Australia.
My gosh. Yeah.
The flight from LAX to New Zealand, I want to say, was maybe 13 or 14 hours.
Oh, it'd be more than that, because just from
Might have
LA,
been 16, yeah.
From LA to Tokyo is 12 and a half, because we have to go all the way up by the Aleutian chain, by Alaska and Russia, come back down. The flight to New Zealand, or at least Australia from LA, I want to say is like 16 to 17
It might have been 16. And then we did land in Honolulu for like maybe an hour. And that was it. And I think it was for the fuel. So we had enough to get there.
Yeah.
And then we landed in New Zealand, then another like hour and a half, 2-hour trip maybe to Australia. It might even been shorter than that.
Wait, so you flew to New Zealand first and
New
then
Zealand
Australia?
first and then Australia. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which
Okay.
was kind of, but I can't even imagine in today's flight where you have to wear a mask for that long in a plane.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure, people are going, "Oh, come on, Andy." But seriously, you got to think about it. It's going to be a lot different. That would be a different thing. But I remember when we got to Australia, they sprayed us down. They deloused. They came on the airplane. We had to sit there, and they sprayed us with some kind of chemical.
What the heck?
Yeah, and it was like,
And how did you allow that?
well, it's to everybody. When you got to Australia, you had to allow them to come on in, and they came. They were wearing like hazmat suits, and they're spraying you down.
Well, see, I was in the Navy. We pulled into Australia, and we
Right.
didn't have to do that.
Well, because you're in the Navy.
So we're still visitors.
We were
to the
just
country.
tourists. It was
yes.
Air New Zealand. I remember we were flying.
If they could only know the type of diseases the Navy brings into their country.
Oh, Lord. You could only say that because you were in the Navy.
Exactly.
All right, I got to say, the show that we did a couple of weeks ago before we took a little break, we talked about something that I thought was kind of cool. And I wasn't sure, like here we are talking about airlines, and we're a tech show. We talk about everything, but we talk about how tech affects your life. And you guys we talked about Casa Bonita in Denver.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually got some really good comments on that show. Now, one of them that was a public comment, I thought this is pretty cool, from Shay, who said, "Awful Mexican food, endless sopapillas, cliff divers, Black Bart's Cave," which you guys never mentioned, puppet show, children's delight, and every parent's worst nightmare. And I said that from what Justin and Shawn tell me, you nailed that description. And she said, "I went there many times growing up in Denver." So you guys really hit the nail on the head when it came to what Casa Bonita was all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's an experience. I mean, when you come to Denver, you got to go to Casa Bonita. I mean, even though people say the food's not that great, it's still an experience. You've got to go see Casa Bonita.
Is there an update on what's going on? Are they
Not sure.
Close to reopening? Or
I don't know, actually, to be honest. I haven't heard anything recently about
it would
that.
be cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little tech. There is some big news that came down this week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, actually. I think the big one really has got to be Microsoft. Microsoft has been kind of flowing when it comes to its announcements. One of the big announcements they made last week was that, hey, we've decided Windows will operate on your older equipment, which, when it was first announced with Windows 11, I know Justin and Shawn and John and all of us, we were talking about the fact that it looked like it wasn't going to run on your older laptop, or you had a desktop. It was time to go out and buy a brand new processor, the whole bit. But what they've done is they've said, no, it will run on your older equipment. You could still check to make sure you have the system requirements.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have, that processor to handle what you need to install it, like as a free upgrade, blah, 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 then what you can do now is they're saying install it as an ISO.
Huh.
So this will bypass, because it's going to be a free update if you have Windows 10. And we've got, Shawn, you had the official rollout date for this?
October 5th, 2021. I'm just going to go over some of the highlights from this PC Gamer article. It's October 5th, 2021, a free upgrade for existing Windows 10 users. The interface changes, a more well-rounded design, even though the logo is completely square. I don't understand that. Better Xbox app integration, and then some more direct storage, which will bolster some drive speeds and stuff like that. But
is there anything else? I mean, other than maybe a cosmetic, that worries me, because that's what we saw with the other upgrades. That remember that they were like kind of there was nothing to it, and then you go, that was the worst one I've ever used, and then something else. Then Windows 10 came along, and it was like, oh, this is good.
You saw a weird jump from 7 to 8.
Yeah.
In a completely UI redesign, and then you kind of saw a kind of a step backwards in terms of a UI design to Windows 10. So far, it kind of looks like this is going actually more of a user experience, looking like a Mac, with the taskbar being moved to the middle and some other.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Rounded corners and more accented, close icons and minimize icons and things like that.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Why do they have to be more like Apple? Are they afraid of Apple?
I don't know. But the one thing that a friend of mine did notice is that he's doing the developer version, so he's got Windows 11 already.
Right.
You can no longer do a vertical taskbar.
Oh, really? Not that I've ever done one.
I don't like. I actually, I welcome that, because I hated it when I'd move my start menu to the side. I'm like, gosh darn it. I'd have to try to figure out how to move it back.
Yeah, so I know there are some of my friends and coworkers in the past that have used exclusively the vertical taskbar. I find no use of it, but they were just like, it's gone. There's nothing, no mention of it. Anything is just gone. Can't do it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So my big thing really, though, is what is going to be different? So the average consumer that's listening to this right now, that may be thinking of, whoa, do I have to get this Windows 11? What is it going to do for them other than confuse them and maybe a new interface and a new way to use it? Because let's face it, some of us like using some of the older tech, the older operating system.
I want to answer this one if you don't mind. I honestly, I don't think it's going to do anything. Just as every other Windows edition released, it's going to take time for it to get good. Even Windows 10 wasn't that great at launch. I mean, it quickly got better, but eventually everybody is going to need to migrate to Windows 11, or at least the vast majority of people. But honestly, I think you're still fine with Windows 10 for a good couple years, right?
Yeah, they're actually saying till 2025.
Yeah, so then just stick with Windows 10.
Yeah, and they are saying that, right now, if you do a Windows update, now I've checked this on 4 machines that I have, and it has not been pushed to me yet. But if you go to, you go to your little search bar in the bottom there, and you type in Windows Update. This is not in your browser. This is actually right there on your desktop if you're running Windows 10. You can open up Windows Update, and it may show you whether or not you can run Windows 11 with the current hardware you have. So if you're getting all excited and you're thinking October 5th when it starts rolling out, I want to go ahead and do the update. Well, you want to find out, are you going to have to make an ISO, or are you going to be able to install it and just do an upgrade that way? But before you do anything, we got to remind people, because, we're still a month away. Back up your system.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think, you could do this update.
Don't just make a restore point.
Yeah.
Back it up.
Back it up completely.
Back it up to external hardware if you can.
I was even thinking, so I've got an M2, right? An M2 Black that's been sitting there. It's a 1 terabyte, and I've got a 480 SSD in mine. I was thinking maybe I'll just do a fresh install. It's just a pain when I have to reinstall all my programs.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about doing that.
It is. Yeah, it is. What do you recommend for the backup software? What's the newest one that you've got?
I use Acronis.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. I have that one too. Yeah.
And, if you're going to do a backup, you can't go wrong with that. Although, now we're working with a new operating system. You have to wonder, how is your software programs going to work with Windows 11? Like, how is Adobe going to work? We know Office should probably work, right? I mean, but how about some of the other programs like QuickBooks? How are some of these programs going to integrate with?
Is the kernel different?
I believe they've changed it, haven't they? I mean, I think, isn't that how they were able to update it?
The underlying thing, I don't see. Okay, so that's the thing I'm questioning. Like, if the underlying technology behind Windows 11 is similar to Windows 10, you theoretically should be able to just continue running your programs as normal.
Yeah, that's true. And considering they are letting you do an upgrade in place.
But
if you have the right hardware.
Yeah, but now what's the big thing about this? Remember when Windows 11 was first announced, they talked about how you had to have certain hardware in order to run Windows 11, and then they kind of backtracked on that for a little bit or something. Yeah. They basically said, okay, fine, we'll let you install it on anything, but we can't guarantee. So what's the difference then with any other edition of Windows? Yeah, you can install it on anything, but they can't guarantee it's going to work. That's what Windows has been ever since day one.
You might work, you might not. Make a backup just in case.
I mean, that's the difference between Apple and Windows or Microsoft, is that Apple controls all of their hardware. Is Microsoft really wanting to go that route?
I don't think so.
I mean, they can't because it would ruin the PC market. Well, actually, it wouldn't ruin the PC market. It would ruin Windows.
Well, a lot of manufacturers like Lenovo and Asus and, the other one are hoping that this will spur some more PC sales. I mean, listen, let's face it. Anytime a new operating system comes out or something new comes out, they want people to go ahead and say, hey, it's time to upgrade. Mm-hmm. It's time to get yourself a brand new desktop or new laptop. And you look at it when Windows 10 came out, what is it, 5-6 years ago, or is it longer than that?
6 years.
6 years ago. Okay.
6 years.
So when we started to see Windows 10, we said, oh, cool. I don't have to update. And we didn't update systems. There are a lot of systems that went from Windows 7 to Windows 10 and are still running fine today. That's the whole thing. But so manufacturers were kind of like, wait a minute. You're not selling a computer. We need you to sell a computer because, like our used cars, we're holding on to our computers longer than we used to. We used to hold on to them for 5 years. Now people are holding on to their desktops for 8, 9, 10 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, my desktop that I have right now, I built in 2016, 2015.
I recently, until I upgraded, less than 6 months ago, that was for a 2010 build.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See? So 11 years.
The only thing, it was worth keeping the motherboard because the motherboard was good, right? But I had to get the top end processor that would fit the socket without upgrading to the next gen.
Yep.
I could only run DDR3 RAM. And it was only 16 gigs that would fit. Like, it only supported 16 gigs because of the processor. And at that point, it was just like, if I wanted to do anything better, I had to upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think, too, Shawn, that like DIY, building your own system, I mean, it's something really people can do if they want to.
It's a lot easier than people think. If you can build Legos, you can pretty much build a PC at this point.
And it's not that difficult. You go to websites like PC Parts Picker, or you go to our local vendors here, like SWS is pretty good. They'll help you out. But, I'm just thinking, the confusion though in the marketplace that is caused right now by number one, memory manufacturers, CPU manufacturers. You go out and you buy a CPU, okay? Say you decide I'm going to stick with Intel. You don't know. Are you getting, what generation are you getting? When you see a processor on the shelves, unless you know what you're doing, sometimes you have no idea. Oh, is that ninth generation, 10th, 11th?
Oh, you could definitely get analysis paralysis when you're looking at computers, because you say, if there's somebody that doesn't know, it's like, okay, you have Intel, you have AMD, and now you have the M1, the silicon from Apple, right?
Yeah.
But then there's so many different versions and variations and cores and threads and hyperthreaders, and it can be very overwhelming, right? So if you're looking into building your own PC for the first time, go to your local computer store, your mom and pop computer store, and talk to the guy behind the counter or the girl behind the counter, because they're going to know, and they're going to be able to help decipher some of that tech jargon that you may or may not understand. And they're more often than not they're going to tell you, don't get the best of the best, because that's not what you need.
Yeah.
They're going to tailor it to what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's how, when I build computers for friends, it's like, what do you want to do with this computer?
You know,
I want to do word processing, I want to browse the web, and I want to play Sims or something, right? Okay, sure. Well, then that gives me a really good idea of what benchmark to put you at.
But doesn't that always change, though? Because let's face it, you get someone, they say, well, I want to do word processing, and I want to be able to maybe go online. And then that person goes, well, wait a minute. I want to play around with this Photoshop. Or I want to go ahead and do virtual reality. And then the needs always expand. Although I will always say, if you go into a big box store and you talk to a sales clerk and you tell them, I want to get myself a new PC, the first question out of his mouth should be, what do you want to do with it? Exactly what you're saying, Shawn.
Yeah.
And then the second question should be, what's your budget?
Oh, yeah, that part too. I forgot about that. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin. Let me find us on the web, techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater and rifftracks.com, and you're listening to the greatest show on the planet, Tech Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Radio. I'm Shawn DeWeird.
I'm Justin Lemmy.
And I'm Andy Taylor. And I visited our big box store, Best Buy, over the weekend.
The Best Buy.
They must think I'm up to something, because I walk up and down the aisles and I take pictures. And I go, oh, I want to talk about this, or I want to look at this, I want to see this. And for the tech segments for the last few weeks, I actually buy. It's like Justin asked me, he says, when do you have to send that stereo back? And I'm like, I bought it. And that's the thing. I've been forced over the last few weeks, because right now it's hard to get stuff from the companies because of, number one, the chip shortage. Number two, just the electronics demand has been very high during the pandemic. And so many cases for my TV segments, I will go out and I'll buy something that I think looks pretty cool that I want to give a test to. And I did buy something this week, but I was looking and I saw all the really cool products, and I came up with a bunch of questions I have for you guys on some products I saw. But one of the things I still have not seen in retail yet that I wish I did, because I would have got this, is something that Shawn just picked up. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. All right, what is it?
These are the Wyze Earbud, the Wyze Pro earbuds.
Now, for those of you who don't know, or maybe first time listening, Shawn is our resident Wyze expert, WYZE. They're a company that was formed from a bunch of ex-Google and Amazon engineers, and they make all kinds of electronic products dirt cheap. I mean, they're taking on Dyson with their vac. They're taking on Roomba with their robot vacuum. They started out with lights and cameras.
Don't forget their cameras for your home security are amazing.
The cameras are. Yeah, I just actually picked up another outdoor cam too. Anyway, so that's Wyze. So they're an American company, but they make stuff super, super cheap, and they keep coming out with brand new products that are taking on the mega brands in the industry.
Yeah, they're taking on the mega brands, even to the point where some of those mega brands are changing their designs to look more like Wyze, or they're changing some of the things that their
like
cameras
what?
can or can't do just the way you're seeing some of the new Google Ring not the Google Ring, but the Google, the Nest and the doorbell is more rounded. Like if you look around enough, you'll see some similarities.
Interesting.
But yeah, so they have a lot of their pre-order stuff because I buy enough stuff from them. I get emails all the time about pre-order this, pre-order that, whatever. So I had been in the market. We had talked about this on the show before. Justin, you had mentioned you had the Jabras.
Yep.
Andy was looking at buying the Sony ones.
Yep.
And so I said, hey, Wyze has their earbuds, their pro earbuds. So I pre-ordered a pair.
Right.
So I finally got them.
Now, these are wireless earbuds that you would, maybe go to the store and use for your smartphone the whole bit with Bluetooth.
Yep. So they're Bluetooth linked to my phone. They have a rechargeable wireless case. This is very similar to the AirPods.
Right.
So I can charge this and then drop them in and charge them when they die. So I've had them for about a week, and I do enjoy them.
Yeah.
I have some pros and I have some cons.
All right. So why don't you give us the pros first?
The pros are they're very light. They fit in my ears really well with the standard foam pieces on them, which is the medium size. They come with three different foam earpieces, medium, small, and large.
Ooh.
So the medium ones fit in my ears pretty well. I did change my right ear to the larger one because my right ear, it kept popping out as I would walk around, and it was not making a super good seal in my ear. And that's very common with wires. Your ears aren't exactly the same shape and size of your ears. So just fine tuning them to myself was fine. They sound great. They sync up with my phone really easily via Bluetooth.
Okay.
But there is some control you can do within the Wyze app itself.
So you have to open the Wyze app to control the settings on the earbuds.
Yeah, on the earbuds, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but there are touch controls and things like volume, and I can answer the phone by touching on the side and all that stuff. It's very similar to the AirPods.
Do you add this product to your Wyze account the same way you would add like a Wyze Cam, where you open up the Wyze app, you say add device, and then you put the earbuds in a pairing mode?
It's actually very simple. So all I would do is I would have to dock them into the tray, the charging station, press and hold the button until it starts blinking, and then it's discoverable.
Okay. Oh, that is cool.
But it's only discoverable via the Wyze app. You can't just add this as a straight Bluetooth device. You have to have.
Oh, you can.
Okay. Right. So you have to have it close to your phone to pair them to the app. You go into the app, you add a device, it searches for it, it finds it, you can name it, you can all that stuff. But then you just drop them back in. It's always linked to your Wyze app, but then I can link it to my computer. I can link it to my MacBook. I can link it to my phone, whatever.
What's the range of those? Do you know? I've had a chance to check that out yet.
The range is not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Wow.
So
what is the range?
Probably about 50 to 60 feet.
Well, that's actually still not bad.
Yeah. Right. It's not that bad. Right. But you're never going to be away from your phone that long when you're on wireless anyways.
Yeah.
Right. But when I had it connected to my computer, my Arctis 7s that I have on right now, I can go all the way upstairs in my house.
Okay, well, yeah, but those are also way bigger, and they have a better Bluetooth receiver.
I understand that. I'm just saying, compared to these, which maybe not be a fair comparison, I can just go up and upstairs and barely it breaks up and goes in and out.
Now, for our listeners who can't see the video portion of this, they are really sleek looking. I really like them.
Yeah,
they're really sleek. Nice.
You can't tell that these are not from, one of the big name manufacturers that are out there that you would have spent oodles of money on.
Do they have the word Wyze on the side of them?
They do not.
Okay. No. Yeah. So you can't
really.
And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's not a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I would not mind having the word Wyze on the side of them. People would be like, "Hey, what's that brand?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just generic. They look just like generic earbuds.
What about comfort? Because when you wear these things for longer than an hour, sometimes it can be a little cumbersome.
Like I said, I had to adjust them. I adjusted them because I've always really hated the earbud style. I've always preferred the over the ear style of a headphone. And so when I got them, I was very cautious about it, but they fit in very well. And like I said, I did adjust the one foam piece to fit my right ear, but other than that, they fit in just nice. They sound good. The battery life is decent. I get about 6 to 7 hours of active listening. I had them in one. I had one.
That course that goes against what they say there on their website. It says up to 18 hours.
What is that with? Is that with or without the active noise canceling on?
Well, okay, so that's what they don't tell you. It just says let's see, 18 hours battery. Okay, hold on. Buds Pro. Wait, what do you got again? Buds Pro?
Yep.
Yeah. So okay, up to 4.5 hours on a single charge with active noise canceling on. 6 hours with active noise canceling off. So okay, that makes more sense.
That holds true. So I tested them at work when I was out building cameras for events at work, and I just had Pandora on my phone, and I had them in. I had active noise canceling on, and I got about 5 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And I will tell you the active noise canceling.
It's better than the Jabras.
It's good. It's not amazing. It's not going to cancel out everything, but
yeah,
it
sure.
will. If I put them on now, it would drown out the air conditioning. It would drown out the furnace in the other room.
Yeah,
it would drown out those constant tones that you hear throughout your normal day, just those mundane tones that are always active.
How dare you talk about your wife like that?
No.
No.
Not even saying that one.
Oh, I had to go there.
Now, one of the main reasons I used the ones that I have, which is the Jaybird Vistas, which I do like, is for listening to podcasts. Sometimes when I'm driving, I'll listen to podcasts or phone calls. I use it with my Fox 11 segments when I have to call and be able to hear the IFB in my ear. And for that, the quality is great on them. Do you use it for music listening with both of them in, and they work fine?
Yeah, I've like I said, most of my experience with them so far has been with music, but I have done phone calls on them, and I think it sounds good to me.
What about the delay?
There's no delay.
No.
Okay. See, I have a problem with delay on the Jabras. And I don't know if it's my Pixel or if it's the Jabras. But I feel like when I'm on my Pixel, it's fine. But like if I have my earphones in, I'm getting a little bit of a delay. And I was able to decrease that delay by turning off the HD audio of the Jabra. And so I don't know. It's like a weird combination. But you don't notice any type of delay at all.
I can't say that I've experienced any issue with a delay, and
Interesting.
I feel like if there was, I hopefully as a professional would be able to identify that.
Now, all right, the big thing about this, and when those are some of the pros that we've talked about, is the pricing. Now, comparatively, what are the costs for those?
Pre-order, I think I paid less than $60.
So that is quite a savings versus
$60.
Yeah.
I paid $200 for my Jabras.
Now, if our listeners want to find these, now I'm going to have you do this before we go over the negatives. What is the website address?
Wyze.com, WYZE.com. But they're not available right now because they only have shipped the pre-orders. So they're not available for actual purchase yet.
I think I saw something today, though, that
they announced a new version of a different style of Pro Buds.
Right. Okay.
And I'm kind of mad because I like those look better.
Right.
But anyways, I probably just have to buy those two.
Okay. So what would be the points about this, though, that made you say, I wish it did this or wish it did that?
I wish I had the ability to change the active noise canceling mode. Actually, just tapping on them.
You do. No, it does. You do. On their website, it says if you press and hold, you can adjust the active noise canceling.
Oh,
it says it right there on their website.
I guess I didn't realize that, but I just freaked out my phone by tapping on the side because it's connected to my phone. It brought up Siri on my phone, which I'm curious about because I have Siri deactivated, so I'm curious. So that's not a con apparently because I can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest concern, not the concern, but the biggest feature I wish it had would be able to do quick switching between devices. So if I have them on my phone and then I sit at my computer and I start a Zoom call or a Zoom session, I wish I could just automatically say, all right, connect me here instead of my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they don't connect to multiple devices. They can only connect to one Bluetooth device at a time. So I would have to disconnect it from my phone, make it discoverable, connect it to my computer to be able to do that quickly. That takes a minute to a minute and a half to almost 2 minutes at times, and I just didn't care for that. So that's an advantage of the.
So you can
AirPods.
you can only connect one device at a time.
As far as I have been able to,
You haven't been able to have two devices at the same time, both Bluetooth, both knowing what the Wyze Buds are, and they won't connect at the same time.
I can have two devices that know what the Wyze Buds are, but they will not connect to both at the same time.
See, now the Jabras do. The Jabras can connect two devices at the same time.
That's a downside for me.
Okay.
So if you're looking for something that you could connect to your watch or connect to your phone or your computer or your iPad or whatever, these are not for you.
All right. But the price is great.
But the price, you can't beat the price.
Now, okay, so somebody listening right now is going, wait a minute. I could use these as headphones with my computer. How does somebody do that if their computer does not have Bluetooth? Can they get a Bluetooth adapter?
You can't. Yeah. You would have to buy a USB Bluetooth adapter or a Bluetooth card or have a motherboard that supports Bluetooth. My new motherboard that I got just a couple months ago supports Bluetooth. So I was playing around with it, seeing how I enjoyed it. And I liked it, but the sound quality for my Arctis 7s are just supreme compared.
Yeah.
Because the drivers are bigger, it's higher fidelity. But I'm not going to lie, the sound quality on these beats just a regular pair of earbuds, like a regular pair of standard plug-in earbuds.
And you can work out with them. You can do the whole bit.
Yeah, and I've had no issue. Like I said, after I upgraded the one foam piece to be a little bit larger, it didn't pop out of my ear. I've been comfortable with them. They look pretty. People don't notice that I have them in,
right?
Because they fit in my ears pretty well. So I'm very happy with them. I just wish I could do the hot swapping a little bit more, where I'm always on my phone at work, or I'm jumping on my computer for a Zoom call, and then I'm in the core doing something.
I figured it out.
What?
All you got to do is buy a second pair of earbuds, Shawn. Put one connected to one phone in one ear, one connected to the other phone in the other ear, and then put the other two spare ones in your pocket.
He's going to blow his brain up.
I'm just saying.
Which way do I look? All right, we have to take another quick break. We come back. We've got more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Send us a tweet at Tech Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Adrienne Barbeau. You're listening to Tech Talk Radio, and you're going to learn a lot.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Radio. I'm Justin.
I'm Andy.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
All right, so the big news that happened earlier this week was I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this one. This is funny. China.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
China, as a country, has now banned kids 18 and under from playing online games for more than 3 hours per week.
Per week?
Per week.
Wow.
So this is interesting. So like previously in the year 2019, people were allowed to play for games for 1.5 hours per day. I didn't even know they had regulations on that.
Me neither.
So they were allowed to play every single day for 1.5 hours per day. Now they're saying if you're 18 and under, you get 3 hours per week. And they're actually gonna enforce it. They're gonna put
how do you enforce something like that?
Well, okay, so what I'm reading here, I'm looking at CNBC.com. They're talking about let's see, where did it go here? Okay, the rules will apply to companies providing online game services to minors, limiting their ability to serve those users outside of designated hours. The companies will also not be allowed to provide services to users who haven't logged in with real name registration, preventing them from simply remaining ignorant to their users' backgrounds. So I originally heard that it was going to be done with some cameras that were going to do facial recognition to find out who's playing. And I think that might still be a certain aspect of it. But I think what's going on here is you need to log in to your game. So whether it be PC or Xbox or PlayStation or even Switch, I guess for that matter, they're going to force these companies to require you to log in with your real given name and your real given birthday. And they're going to do background checks to make sure that you are who you say you are. And that way, if these companies will allow you to stay online, they're going to get a stiff penalty. And that's crazy.
All right, so now what about, so this would apply to the online games like Battleground or
Fortnite or Call of Duty or
now what about somebody who gets a game that is single player?
It doesn't mention
not playing it. So some kid could eventually just go, I'm not playing online. I'm just going to play at home with AI.
Well, I think that might be coming down to it, and that brings me to another point of mine was that you've got in certain games such as Call of Duty. In general, Call of Duty is probably the worst offender of this, but you've got massive problems with hacking. People will get into these Call of Duty games, and there's a couple other games out there that do the same thing, but they get into these games and they use these specialized tools. They're applications that sit outside of the actual program, the actual game, but they allow you to do things like aimbot, where your aiming is always perfect, or you can see the characters through the wall, so you know who's hiding behind a wall or something. So they're literally cheating. And a lot of these cheaters come from China. And that has been a proven fact in the past. So I'm curious if this is really going to knock down the amount of players online 18 and under. Is it going to slow down or mitigate the amount of hacking that goes on in the games that the rest of the world enjoys but doesn't enjoy because of all the Chinese hackers?
I don't think it will. I mean, I think you'll see maybe a small decrease, but you got to remember, it's like video games aren't just for kids anymore.
No, of course not.
And that mentality in China of win at all costs.
That is true. That is true.
Is why they have hacking.
That is true. That's the point that should be made, is that they have this mentality that's baked into them from birth, that win at all costs. They don't consider hacking to be cheating. They just think it's an advantage. They win at all costs. That's their thing. Win at all costs.
But you probably will see a small decline, but without knowing how it's going to be tracked and censored and all that stuff, it's going to be so hard to know.
I think they're going to put it on the providers. They're gonna put it on the providers. So PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Steam, Nintendo Online. I think they're gonna put it on them, and that might actually cause some of these services to say, you know what, we don't want to be in China anymore. If you're gonna make us have to implement what's likely to be a multi-million-dollar investment into tracking this stuff, why would they just want to stay in China? I guess it depends on how much money they're making from China. Now, yeah, certain games are making a ton. This is why Call of Duty doesn't worry about banning the hackers, because every time a hacker gets banned, they buy another copy of the game, which gives them another access to online. So Call of Duty is making money hand over fist, and they're like, okay, yeah, we banned 5,500 hackers this week. That's 5,500 more copies we just sold.
Now, when for our listeners who don't know, we think of hackers as somebody who wants to get our social security numbers and our money, and maybe
no.
This is a game hacker that will go in and exploit the game to be able to get more to win, basically win the game.
Yeah, that's all they're doing. They're just making it difficult, if not impossible, for everybody else who's playing the game legitimately to have a chance at winning.
Well, and then there's certain games will actually put different lobbies into the game where you can choose not to be lobbied with Asian players.
Okay, but then VPN.
No, I understand.
These guys will use VPNs.
Yeah,
they'll use VPNs to come from the US or Norway or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always ways around it to get that always win mentality.
I'm kind of wondering, though, why would China do this? What is the reasoning behind this?
They're saying here that there's over 110 million minors that play video games in China today, and we expect the new limits to lead to a decline in the number of players and the reduction in the amount of time and money spent in-game by those under 18. In other words, they're saying that children are basically turning their brains to mush because, like, okay, in America, there are certain people that let their kids play games all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. Eric, who's standing next to me right now, gets to play games 30 minutes to maybe an hour a day at the most.
Right.
But there are some people in China, and a lot of people in China, they let their kids play games for 24 to 48 hours straight.
So even when the parents are going to bed, the kids still out playing
There
a
are
game.
cases where people have literally died in internet cafes where they've been playing for 72 straight hours without food or water, and they die at their station, and people don't even notice until they start to, get
Is that guy
slavery.
No, he's not.
Yeah, no, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a part of it is the addiction in video games. I think people are just trying to escape everyday life in China. And I don't necessarily think everyday life in China is that bad, but I don't live there. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's what they're doing is they're just trying to escape everyday life because it's so bad there that we don't know.
Right. Wow, it's crazy. So I wanted to ask, you know, during the pandemic, some of us went to the movies, some of us didn't. Some of us waited at home for a movie or paid $20 for it. Did any of us, and we're speaking of games here, go see Free Guy?
Not yet. I want to see that so bad.
I really wanted to see it. Now, okay, so here's what I know for everybody. Free Guy is a film that starred Ryan Reynolds. It is about a non-playable character in a video game. And that would be one of those characters, you're playing a video game like Grand Theft Auto or something else, and, you know, the car goes by somebody and there's somebody who jumps out of the way. That would be the NPC, right? Non-playable character. Nobody controls it. Well, the movie will be out streaming on HD digital, meaning that you'll pay like a subscription fee, or you'll pay a rental fee, which could be, you know, $20. That's how much I ended up doing Respect, the one about Aretha Franklin that way.
Okay.
And it was $20. It was worth it. We watched it in our living room, Amazon Prime Video, September 14th.
September 14th. Okay, I'm definitely going to see that because I really do want to see it.
And it'd be great on a big system like you and Shawn have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be great. Now, the Blu-ray 4K is going to be out October 12th.
Ooh.
I want to see it on that. Because,
wait. So if I stream it, it's not going to be 4K?
No, it's going to be HD. Just HD digital.
Okay, then I'll wait for the Blu-ray.
Because the Blu-ray October 12th is when it'll be available. And supposedly that will be pretty intense. Now, the word is it will go to HBO Max before it goes anywhere else. But the movie Free Guy is something to see. And if there's a way we could do a watch party with it, that would be absolutely cool. I would love that.
And you know that they already confirmed Free Guy 2. Ryan Reynolds confirmed the sequel.
Yeah, and Disney is actually wanting to do it, which is interesting. Because
maybe they'll bring in Wreck-It Ralph.
I loved Wreck-It Ralph, too. That was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Colin Mockery of Whose Line Is It Anyway? You're listening to Tech Talk Radio. I don't know how it works. It's all magical stuff to me.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy.
So we were talking, you know, this is the segment of the show that we like to do like a website of the week or a product of the week. And earlier we were talking about Acronis. And, you know, if you're going to do an update to Windows 11, you want to make a backup. Matter of fact, anytime you install a new program onto your PC, you don't know how it's going to interact. So make sure you have a backup. And Acronis is a great program. It can be somewhat pricey, but it has a lot of features. But for somebody who's looking at maybe saving just to the cloud, Shawn has found a product that he actually has used before for his for your mom, right?
So my mom actually has used it. I will say that she found it from another Tech Talk podcast. I won't name names.
All right.
But she listens to this one quite a bit. Not ours, unfortunately. I'm trying to get her on that.
Is she a digital goddess?
Digital goddess. Yes.
Kim's okay. Kim's been on our show before.
Kim Commando. Yeah. My mom loves her, listens to her podcast all the time.
Yeah.
So she uses Backblaze, which is an online, you can buy hardware from them or you can do it to the cloud, right? So they have what they call their world's easiest cloud backup for $7 a month, and it's unlimited data.
Wow. That's pretty good. Unlimited?
That's what it
For
says.
how much?
$7 a month.
That's pretty good if it's unlimited.
Oh.
So you can basically store your entire computer, you know, in the cloud, and if something happens, recover it.
And so the key highlights of that service are automatic backups, secure and encrypted, off-site backup because it's in the cloud, unlimited storage, unlimited retention, and access on the web, mobile, or you can request a USB drive and they'll ship it to you in the mail.
Huh. Wow. So if you do have a system crash, you could tell them, hey, I'm going to send you a USB drive. They put it on that USB drive and then send it back to you.
I'm sure they just send you a USB drive. I'm sure you don't have to send one to them. But,
okay.
If you want to try for free, you can just go onto their website for 15-day free trial, backblaze.com, BACK, blackblaze.com.
All right, blaze.com. All right, very cool stuff. Great show this week. I know we started off kind of talking about all kinds of fun stuff, but next week we'll have more of Tech Talk Radio. Now, if you have a question for the show, feel free to drop us an email, techguys@techtalkradio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
I'm Justin Lemmy. Have yourselves a great week. See you next time.